Hi, my name's Aly Paws. Welcome to the Yoga Home, and this is a video on headstands. I love inversions, and if you are anything like me, you will love the breakdown of this tutorial. So stick around, we'll talk about headstands. So first, I want us to discuss just the alignment points. You may do it against the wall if you've never done this. However, I try to steer people away from that and to work with an actual teacher in person, because then they can support your alignment without you relying on the wall and creating this like banana effect that happens. So by all means, if you don't have anyone else to help you, you can use the wall, but just try to maintain the pressure that I talk about soon, which is stacking, bone upon joint, so that you have this nice foundation and you're not leaning into the wall and relying on the wall. So first things first is you want to have a stable grounding foundation. So how I do it, there's two separate ways. Sometimes I'll interlace my fingers and I'll put my head right in this spot, right there in like a little hammock. And then I can squeeze my hands into my head. But lately, I've been doing it like this with closed palms, and then my head just goes right there. So it all depends. Sometimes it opens up. It depends how I'm shifting in the posture. So I'll start you out right away with coming down onto your knees and just kneeling into this. So you could interlace your fingers, have them together if you want, or separate, and just place your head in that little. And it's usually the highest point of the head that goes onto the ground. So you don't want to be onto your forehead too much or the back of your head too much. And so when it comes to headstands, you want to really move slowly. At first it's going to be hard because you'll just want to kick up and get that momentum. But you want to really move slowly and actually use your core. And you kind of roll, like you come from a little ball, and I'll show you in a second. But this just activates and brings awareness to your core center where you need that balance. So when you're upside down, you'll feel weight transfer and it'll move this way and that way. And obviously if it goes that way, then you feel like you're going to topple over. Now we should discuss a little bit of how to fall out of these as well, because that's important. If you are not using a wall and you're just using the middle of the room, make sure that everything's cleared away from you, okay? You don't want to have any debris or chairs or anything in the way. Because if you do feel like you're toppling over and you're about to lose that balance, what I usually do, and it's really only happened like once to me, and what I do is I tuck. So I just do this little like tuck and roll. So you don't want to just stay upright and then, right? So you want to be lowest down to the ground as possible. So you just come into a little ball and you just roll out. That's what I do. Easier said than done, of course. So let's try out just the basic foundation of it. And some people like to measure the distance of here. Usually it's about shoulder distance. And some people measure it this way, which is okay unless you go to interlace and then you open up again. So if you grab onto opposite elbows and just pivot on the elbows without changing anything, that may seem really narrow to you. Maybe you want to widen it, but you don't want to be really wide stance. So this is like a little tripod that you're having here. Okay, like a little triangle. So just make sure that that feels firm. And when you're up there, you're going to be pressing on the pinky, the forearm, the elbows, so that you're pressing the shoulders, and you're actually not bringing the shoulders away from the ears like a lot of cues are. They're actually coming up, so you're really, I don't know if you can see this, but say if my head was down on the ground, instead of letting my head sink and my shoulders sink, I'll press, and I don't know if you noticed that, but once I press my shoulder or my elbows into the ground,
I have this whole space that happens and the shoulders actually come up and you have all this energy here.
So the main idea is to stack. So you want to get your hips to line up your shoulders, and that's why we'll go slow with this. So get into your little tripod. Okay, and if you're using the wall, you want to be like a little bit away from the wall, enough so that if you are kicking up, that, you know, and not too far away from the wall either.
Okay, so place the highest point of your head down on the ground. Press the elbows in. And then just start to lift your knees off and see how you're way back here with the hips. Use your feet to walk the hips forward so that you're eventually lined up with the shoulders. Okay, it might feel like you're over-rotating a little bit with the neck, but just stay nice and tall with the spine. So keep walking. And eventually, now you may want to kick up here, but I'm going to get you just to lift the right foot off the ground and just do a little tap and just feel that weight transfer. So you'll feel it into your pinkies and your hands a little bit, but come back into the elbows and feel the strength of the shoulders. So you'll feel a little bit of a tapping, maybe do the other foot. Okay, just to get core awareness going on. And when you're ready to do this, you can do one foot. I'm just going to show you the 2 feet. I'll feel the balance first, and then I'll use my core to slowly bring my legs up. You could stay here first, and then eventually extend, which is the scary part for most people, right? And then, see, I'll like firm up through my shoulders, keep pressing my elbows into the ground, and then I tighten up a little bit through my inner thighs, and press my feet towards the ceiling. So lots of energy there. Navel center is in. Now I'm not bananaing out, so I'm not arching my back. Keep the pelvis nice and neutral. I'm hoping that's what it looks like. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it. So that's why it's nice to have a teacher. And when you're coming down, come very slow, like you came up, and then let your head relax into the ground. And come into a nice, gentle child's pose, rolling the forehead side to side, letting the arms and shoulders relax. Because there's a lot of compression on the spine and the skull, so you really want to, that's why I lift my head off the ground when I'm in these, just slightly, so that there's not all that pressure going into it. But that takes a little bit of time. And then slowly come out, roll the shoulders back, and I like to do a little cat-cow just to release the neck. Okay, so I hope that helped you, and let me know in the comment section below what you're struggling with in this posture. I absolutely love headstands, and I hope you do too. Namaste.